Hello and good morning, everyone, and welcome to yet another vlog. And yes, continuing our series of quick revisionary sessions on the audit paper, we are here back. I am CSC SCM Nikhil Gupta, and today we are going to discuss internal checks, internal controls, and internal audit, which is an industry specific requirement. Now, first of all, before starting this chapter, let me tell you what do you mean by internal checks or internal controls. Guys, auditors' work is to check the transactions and the financial statements which are prepared by the management. But even before the auditor comes in an organization to check, to scrutinize, to examine, the management itself has certain procedures which it lays down or which it installs in the business to check whether the transactions are being recorded appropriately and whether the transactions are being recorded suitably, whether the employees are doing any kind of fraud or not. So there are certain internal checks which the management employs itself. To give an example, checks worth rupees 5 lakh and above will be signed only and only by the managing director. This is a check on the employees whether they are performing their duties well or not. Because if a check worth rupees 5 lakh rupees or more is being signed by a lower level staff, there is a more risk or a probability of that person siphoning off or embezzling the funds or the cash of the company. Therefore, an internal check is employed by the board of directors to say that any check above rupees 5 lakh should be signed by the managing director himself. Example number 2. There can be a situation where a transaction of payment or receipt in cash is vetted by two people and not one people. So if there is only one person involved in any kind of transaction, then that person is more susceptible to doing any kind of fraud. But if there are two people involved, then the risk of forgery is very, very less. So this is the way the management employs internal checks, employs certain procedures which are employed by the management itself, and they employ that those checks to ensure that transactions are being happening in the organization and recorded appropriately and suitably. Any kind of exception in this internal check or any internal control will be reported to the board of directors immediately. Now, sir, how are these internal checks related to auditor? How can auditor be benefited from such internal checks which are employed by the management? Guys, if the internal checks are strong, then the auditor will reduce its audit procedures. It will have more faith in the financial statements which are drawn by the organization. It will have more faith in the accounts which are drawn up, the transactions which have been entered in the books of accounts. So, owing to a higher faith, the audit procedures frequency or the rigor will reduce if the internal checks are perfectly installed and they are working perfectly fine. So this is the benefit which is derived by the auditor if internal checks are appropriately functioning properly. So the very first step which the auditor has to take while starting an audit is to check whether the internal checks are working properly or not, whether the internal control system is strong enough or not, whether the auditor can rely on the internal controls and internal check or not. So the very first step is to check the authenticity, the suitability of the internal checks. So with this background, let's start our discussion on internal checks. What is an internal check? So internal check system is a continuous internal audit carried on by the staff itself. So the staff of the management carries on this internal check. Whose staff is it? It is staff of the management or the company who's continuously carrying on this audit or internal audit. The work of one individual is checked by another staff. So there are two people who are involved in one transaction. One person is checking other person's probable transaction. Then internal check is an arrangement of staff duties where no one is allowed to carry through the record every aspect of the transaction. So no one person is allowed to carry on the recording of all the aspects of one transaction. So there is splitting up of work. Without collusion between any two or more person, fraud is prevented, and at same time possibility of errors and frauds are reduced to the minimum. Now, what are auditor's duty regarding internal check system? What should auditor do with respect to the internal check system? Number one, he should apply few test checks, that he should check the few transactions. He should check whether the internal check are being completely working or not. Number two, he should carry out thorough check of whole of the certain class of the transactions. Now, the auditor should check certain transactions on a test check basis, and he should check certain transactions completely to ensure that the test checks are working properly. Number three, The existence of a good control system reduces to a great extent the work of the auditor, but does not reduce his liability. So the internal check system, yes, reduces the burden of the auditor, but does not reduce his liability. So to the extent an auditor should depend on the internal check will depend upon his tact, skill, experience and judgment. Now what are the objectives of internal control system? Objective are to segregate the task. There should be different person responsible for different tasks, segregation of tasks. Number two, there should be confirmation of facts and entries. The auditor should ensure that internal checks is confirming the facts and entries properly in the books of accounts. To facilitate the breakdown of routine procedures. So if routine procedures are being carried out, then they should be brought down into small pieces, and every piece should be done by a different person. So there needs to be a breakdown of routine procedures. Then to reduce minimum the possibility of fraud and error. Fraud and error should be reduced. All the mistakes should be reduced. Internal checks should be so strong that if one person commits some mistake, then the next person who's handling that transaction should be able to catch that mistake, and that mistake is rectified at the source itself. Then second system is internal control questionnaire. So auditor, to evaluate the internal controls, can also have a questionnaire, and he can have the questionnaire filled by the management people to understand what are the level of internal controls which are employed in an organization. So internal check system questionnaire is a list of systematically, logically prepared questions. There are certain questions which are designed to find out and evaluate effectiveness of internal check system. So auditor prepares this checklist and asks the management to fill this checklist to know whether the internal control systems are working properly or not. Auditor will ask all sort of relevant questions which are required to check the internal control system of the organization. During the course of audit, statutory auditor will submit to the organization a complete questionnaire for reply by concerned official, which will help the former to form an opinion as to adequacy and reasonableness of internal check system. So the internal check system, which will be checked by the statutory auditor before he starts his actual audit work. Now, some examples of internal control questionnaire of cash and bank receipt. If you want to analyze the cash and bank receipt, then certain examples or certain questions which can be asked. Is the inward mail date stamped? So whenever there is an inward mail, whenever there is an entry in the cash account, it should be stamped. Accounts department should acknowledge the receipt of that particular cash or bank. Is there a detailed record of receipt prepared? There should be detailed record of receipt which should be prepared. Are all checks specially crossed by the employees? So all checks should be crossed. None of the checks should be bearer check. All should be crossed. Are bank accounts deposits prepared made by someone else other than responsible for cash receipt? So the bank deposit should be done by some other person, and cash receipt should be done by some other person. So the person who is receiving cash should not be responsible for depositing the cash to the bank. So there should be distinction in the authority and the scope of work. Is there a comparison of line items listed in duplicate deposit slips with amount of checks recorded? So there are deposit slips which should be maintained, and there are checks which are deposited. Both of these things should be reconciled with each other at the month end. Are receipts given for over the counter collection? So if there is an over the counter collection, if you have a retail store where you are collecting cash, is there proper system of receipt being given to for those kind of cash? That is another question which you need to ask to the management. Is there a reconciliation of such proof of collection with amount banked? So whatever is being collected by you, is there any reconciliation of that amount with the receipt of the bank? Are collections of branch office, sales office deposited in special account and withdrawal only by head office? So if you have branch office and if you have some other office like sales office, then the cash should be collected at those offices, but that should be deposited by those offices in some special banks, but the withdrawal from those bank accounts should not be permitted by the sales office. It should be done only at the head office. If collection are made by representatives of company in cash, have serially numbered been issued? So if the representatives are collecting cash from various people and parties, then they should be serially numbered and they should be reconciled with the bank statement or the cash statement at the end of each day. So these are certain questions which you can ask your company, and you can learn any 6 of them. There are more given in the next page. You can learn only 6 of them. Only 6 is more than sufficient for an internal questionnaire. Now, what is the difference between a checklist and an internal control questionnaire? So you remember we had discussed about checklist when we were discussing in the revisionary video number 2, whereby we were discussing what are the essential elements which are to be done in during the course of an audit. We prepare a checklist that we have to do this. That is a checklist. This is a questionnaire which is issued to management to sort replies from them on various aspects of internal control. So what is the difference? Checklist is issued at commencement of the audit, and internal control questionnaire can be issued at any point of time during the course of audit. Then checklist is issued to audit staff. It is not issued to the management but to audit staff. But internal questionnaire is issued to different levels of people in the organization or the management. Then checklist contains instructions to be followed by the audit assistants. It is for auditors to follow the checklist. However, for internal control questionnaire is to be answered by the employees of the organization. Then checklist is guideline for audit staff so that it can work properly. It is a guideline to the audit staff. But internal control questionnaire is to collect information from the management of the company. So this is the difference between a checklist and an internal control questionnaire. Now the distinction between internal audit, internal control and internal check. So guys, internal audit is the review of financial statement and operating activities by staff member of the auditor. This can also be done by the management because internal audit is sometimes done by the management of the company. Internal control means the methods and procedures adopted to assist in achieving the objective of efficient conduct of business. It includes internal check and internal audit. So internal control is a measure whereby we are checking that no frauds and errors have occurred in the financial statements and you are doing your business and recording all the transactions properly. Internal check means allocation of responsibility, division of work. The work of an employee is checked continuously by another person. So when work is checked by another person continuously, it is known as internal check. So internal check on the transactions ensure that the transactions are recorded properly and appropriately. So there's a distinction between internal audit, control and internal check. I hope you'll be able to do them quite easily because we have discussed the aspects of audit, control and check pretty much in detail. And of course, this is a very important aspect from an exam point of view. You need to understand the meaning and difference of all three of them. All right. Next comes our surprise checks. Surprise check, guys, means checks which are not planned but are suddenly done by the auditor. And these checks are done by the auditor just to ensure that everything is going on fine. See, if you tell your auditee that you are going to do this step, then they will be prepared for doing those steps. But if you want to check them or catch them off guard, then the best thing to do is to have a surprise check and a surprise element. And you need to ensure that don't tell about the surprise check to the auditee and just suddenly visit their office sometime. So for example, if you want to check the cash balance of any company, then one fine day you should suddenly go there and just ask them, please show me your cash, and then tally that cash with your books of accounts. You will be able to know whether they are properly recording their cash balance or not. So these are surprise checks which are really important from an audit standpoint, and they catch the client off guard. Then comes the cutoff procedures. Guys, one of the most important procedures in an audit process. Cutoff procedures means that a transaction which happens in a particular financial year, for example, 1st April 2018 to 31st March 2019, the transactions happening during this period should be recorded in this period. So sometimes what happens is your invoices, which records your sales invoices, are dated 30th March 2019, but actually the goods are delivered to the customers on 2nd April 2019. Now, since the invoice is dated 30th March 2019, there may be an error in the recording of these transactions as sales during the financial year 18-19. No, guys, this is absolutely wrong. This sale is not of financial year 2018-19 because the goods and the possession and authority ownership of the goods are transferred on 2nd April 2019. So this sales belongs to the financial year 2019-20 and not 2018-19. So we have to carry on these cutoff procedures so that appropriate transactions are recorded in the appropriate financial year. So The cutoff procedures are adopted to allocate revenues and costs to the proper accounting period. There should be proper accounting period in which your accounts should be recorded and your transactions should be recorded. So this period is known as cutoff procedure. Area of concern, accounts payable, accounts receivable. So as I told you, sales and expenses are key important areas which are covered by cutoff procedures. Then cutoff points, importance and example, you can go through them. Now one very important aspect of audit is walk-through test. Now guys, what is this walk-through test? Walk-through test means an auditor should, before starting the audit, understand the entire transaction properly. So walkthrough is the process of in-depth examination of a particular transaction. When you examine a particular transaction in depth and you see all the aspects of the transaction properly yourself in your eyes, then you have be said to done the walkthrough test. So for example, you have to for example, if you are auditing sales procedure, then you have to pick one of the sales of the entire financial year and you have to check that sales from inception to the commencement to the conclusion of the sales transaction properly. You have to check each and every document, each and every step. You have to actually be at the position of the finance person and you have to check it completely. So this complete examination of sales is known as walkthrough. Now obviously you don't have so much of time, energy and effort to conduct the walkthrough for each and every account head. So you have to pick and choose those account heads which are extremely important, extremely critical for audit procedure, and you have to perform walkthrough for those particular account heads or those particular transactions. So this is in-depth examination of a transaction is known as walkthrough. Then there is a difference between test checking and statistical checking. Guys, we have to pick up samples, and for picking up samples there are two techniques. One is selecting those samples randomly, and one is there are tools which are available in the market which can statistically divide your data into various stratas, into various groups, and ensure that each and every strata has a representation in the samples. So you have statistical sampling, you have test checking, you can use either of them. I'll tell you out of my example, Big Fours are using only statistical sampling these days to conduct audit of any transaction. So this is the difference between test checking and statistical sampling. So that's all for today's revision video, guys. I hope you are studying well and your exams are around the corner. Not much of time left. So you need to really prepare well. You need to really be on your toes and pull up your socks because time is really less, running out of your hands. I have already told you that I am preparing, and I've also emailed many of you the short notes which I have prepared for audit, and I'll be sending them to you soon for all the rest of the chapters. I'm preparing them, and as soon as I'm preparing them, I'm simultaneously sharing them with all of you. Those revisionary notes will be really beneficial for all of you, so you can take help from those revisionary notes. And yes, that's all for today's video. I'll see you in the next video with another chapter and revision of another aspect of audit. Till then, all the very best and happy studying.